Jason.
Hey.
Superbooth, Berlin. You're back. I've said back in black, it's a terrible joke. With some new stuff, repanels, a ton of sexy new gear. I guess take us through the case.
Yeah, so this case I've kind of got a mix of old and new. I say old, that's a lot of my modules are now readily available. So the Harmony...
I don't think they're old to anyone.
No.
Maybe you in design maybe, but not to anyone
That's the thing, I need to remember what people still haven't seen that is old to me, but is still new stuff. So the Harmony is my main polyphonic quantizer, which takes in a single CV signal and generates root 3rd, 5th, 7th, and automatically tunes to diatonic chords. I don't have anything patched in at the moment, but it will. You patch out to 4 independent oscillators, and it will automatically keep them diatonic to various different harmonic structures. So you've got
keys and inversions and spreading out the voices.
Exactly, yeah. I tried to design it in a way that if you know the music theory, you can take full advantage of it. But it's quick enough that you can just patch in as if you're using any quantizer. Like just the familiar.
Well, it's been I think that's exactly it. I mean, a few of the viewers, I guess, know that I teach music, so knowing some theory is great, but for anyone that just comes around and plays on this that's maybe just DJ'd before, or they've been straight into making musical, in their minds, harmonized music.
Yeah, regardless of what key you're in, it will pick the most diatonically relevant chord, so it should keep things as musical as possible.
Yeah.
Cool. That's currently patched into some sort of patch with the Troika. So this was my first oscillator, which is currently available. It's the black faceplate is brand new, so I'm doing these as a retrofit kit because the module is currently manufactured in the US and is available from a lot of retailers worldwide.
Yep.
So I'm going to be making available the black faceplate, which will ship with a new set of knobs with the white caps, white LEDs for the faders, and so if anyone has other black panels and wanted to fit, then that's an option, but black is the standard for all the other guys. If we move to the right, this is the toner. So this is, you can think of it as one voice of the Troika with all the waveforms broken out. Sawtooth core oscillator, all analog, and this was my first attempt diving into wavefolding schematics and circuits. So
the wavefold's gorgeous on that. It just doesn't go too far.
Yeah.
So you're quite free. You can be quite free with a CV, unlike a lot of other folders that just get a bit too noisy or chaotic.
Yeah, I tried to keep this one reined in so that all the way down, it's almost the same wave. It's slightly more rounded just because there's a bit of it's almost like a compression of the shape, and then it folds up to that familiar West Coast sound. Yeah. The circuit itself is AC coupled, so it's a very symmetrical fold, which is a little bit different from what I did more recently with the TSL. If I jump over here, I've been floating this about on Instagram recently. So this is my first triangle core oscillator. So 6 HP and has 5 outputs: sine wave, triangle wave. The square output is sub, so you have down 1 octave or 2 octaves. There is the wavefold output, which is
a lot more aggressive than the toner.
A lot more aggressive, yeah, exactly. With the symmetry offset, it's the shaping symbols are approximations of what it's doing. There is a bit of misshaping in certain things, so I found that sonically it had the most range. Like all the way, I found it all the way down, and then just a decent amount of wavefolding up, and there's a really gritty squelch to it, which is a lot of fun. Yeah.
The linear FM on this is great as well.
Cool. Thank you.
I should say, having had one for a little while.
Yeah. So it's, I went for the option of just having a toggle switch which reroutes the signal. Initially, I was just going to go with the exponential and just have the attenuator on that, but because it's it's more than just a range. It's the curve. It's the shaping up. Which is changing the frequencies. So,
but the linear FM on a triangle core is gorgeous.
Yeah. The sync on this guy is soft sync. So it's more like a frequency lock. So if you have another oscillator you want to frequency match it to, then it's a bit easier to tune it into perfect unison. Cool. I guess.
And the big boy.
Yeah, the big boy. Yeah. So TSL. This is its big brother, the CSL, and it's kind of I've been working towards this for a while. So this is a combination of many of my experiments and designs over time. So the top oscillator is a sawtooth core. Very much derived from the Troika and Toner. The bottom one is the same triangle core that's in the TSL. And I was trying to just push the boundaries a bit further than a lot of complex oscillators are, where they're still very much a modulator carrier, where the final output it'll have its wavefolder. So I threw a wavefolder on both, which is again a slight variation on the wavefolders that I've done previously. So this one is VCA driven, so all the way down, and it will mute the mute the waveform entirely. The symmetry gets a bit more aggressive again. So I've tried to have, there are waveformers on 3 of the oscillators now, but I tried to have each one have its own perks and quirks. Where to start? So each oscillator's got a different set of waveform outputs. The sawtooth has the sawtooth core. The sawtooth core has its sawtooth, of course. The triangle is missing a sawtooth, but the square wave is selectable at its original octave or 2 subs below. Wavefolder per voice, which is controlled by the fader. There's a symmetry control, which is attenuverting a DC bias, but you can patch anything in. You can actually use it as a mixer if you're running a second signal in some with the sine wave before the wavefolder. Cross modulation, I tried to cover as many bases as I could, which... so
I've got ring modulation, rectification, AM...
So the index bus, I can choose whether the sine waves from each oscillator are going to the opposite's linear FM or exponential FMs via
feedback as well as the actual modulation.
So there's multiple destinations for each sine wave. They can go to either the FM inputs or the symmetry or the wavefolder, which if I send it to the symmetry, for instance, as I bring up the index now, which is now going to mix in this sine wave pre-wavefolder. We're essentially just mixing 2 sine waves together before a wavefolder, which has a really, it's got that stability that you miss with a lot of frequency modulation, where it gets very clangorous. You get the bell-like character, but it will
pull in that fundamental around at the higher depths of modulation.
Yeah. And it's very different if it's, so at the moment this is the sine wave going to the symmetry. If I kill that and send it to the wavefold control, there's a lot of range of timbre control that is, on multiple different levels, and that's happening both directions between the 2 oscillators simultaneously. So in addition, there's the amplitude modulation section, where these are actually inputs that you can just patch into. So if you want external signals going in, you can just use that as a ring mod for any signal otherwise.
Separately to the rest of the...
And the sine waves are normalized to them. Let me patch in here. So by default, it's full 4-quadrant bipolar ring modulation. If I hit this button, I change the processing on the modulator signal. So AM, it will eliminate anything that's in the negative domain, so you end up with just this...
half rectifies it.
Exactly, yeah. And then full rectification, you end up with a double pulse. So between whatever patch you have going on, so say I'm sending a lot of... full exponential FM, both directions. Each one has...
hear the rectification.
Yeah. The sync controls, if it is amber, it's soft syncing the triangle core from the sawtooth. If it's white, it's hard syncing the sawtooth core from the triangle. And the hard sync is actually coming from the sub. So just by jumping down the octave, a lot of range for that.
So it's a little complex analog playground.
Yeah, it's just a lot of the times, if holding the center button will indicate where the routing is for the index control. It's you can get lost very quickly, but I've just found just playing with it, you end up with the most bizarre sounds that are just infinitely fun to
So looks like a filter.
Yep. So this is a new filter. So this is actually based on the ARP 2500 1047 resonant filter. A few modifications I've done over time, like the variable notch. That's quite distinctive from that ARP filter. So I've added CV control over that, so it will center position and the center frequency will track with the the main coarse and fine controls.
Okay.
And you can offset it, which it's not a perfect offset notch. It kind of staggers it.
Kind of phase a bit, like almost like a phaser-ish
exactly,
like tone.
Yeah. It gets really rich. So full multi-mode, low pass, band pass, high pass, notch. There are two inputs. The secondary input inverts the signal and is so the amplitude is responsive to the resonance. So as you bring the resonance up, it will duck it, so it kind of automatically controls the gain level. The main input has the gain fader for setting input level. The limiter is actually a borrowed circuit from the TAN-H limiter wave shaper circuit. If you imagine a sawtooth wave going in, it will shape it into more of like an S curve.
Yes.
If you're running like more complex audio, like running kick drums or like full drum voices through it, knocking that in it just fattens everything up. So it's like a bit of soft limiting.
It's not too aggressive, but just beefs everything up.
Yeah. I was having fun like just running just acoustic drum samples through it, and it just beefs it up a lot. So, yeah.
And we can't escape a big bank of faders.
Yeah. So this is the Nyonic, which actually translates to weird from a Scottish Gaelic. Which,
okay.
I think this module is going to be an ongoing work in progress. Where it was a commission build for a friend of mine who was looking for just a set of faders that were generating CVs to control things, and I thought I'll see what else I can add in. So each fader, there's an input and an output. You can patch a signal in, and it will become an attenuator over that signal. I built an analog slew limiter on each channel. At the moment,
the slew for the input and for the slide, or is it for the
slider as well? So it will slew the slider as well. The digital outputs or the gate outputs are currently just manual gates on it. I have ideas to add in like tap tempo following, so you've got multiple isolated tap tempos. It's kind of I'm open to suggestions for features for this guy. Not entirely sure of its future. I think there's going to be a hardware revision for some of the stuff under the hood. At the moment, if I hold down this button and select any, it will disable the mutes, and any of these signals will now sum to the mix output, and this will mix DC as well as AC, so you can use that as an audio.
Okay.
So it means you can group, say you need to mix 4 audio channels, you could use the first 4 faders as your mix bus to the output while using these.
4 are independent.
Exactly, yeah. And then there's a simple sequencer built in for that will, each of the faders is digitally read by an ADC and then stored. So I think I'm going to incorporate in multi-layer or multiple banks of sequence patterns.
Okay.
Like that. So it's
so generally, I mean, you mentioned this being a commission build, people are buying direct from you. I get a fair bit of questions when I share bits of this kit as to when's it available, how can I get it? Is it just a case of getting in touch?
Yeah. At the moment, I have a full web store in the works, which is getting there, which is long needed. So my website has been lacking information quite sadly for a while. But the Harmony, the Troika, the Tona, the Tri are readily available. I have them in stock and ready to go. The Scion as well, actually, and a lot of the other ones like the Complex Oscillator. The way that I produce, you'll build small batches as they're in demand early on, and until the larger production runs take place. So any interest, get in touch. Come say hi.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.